Okay, now the layout phase. Since all these are at a really weird rotation, we're going to have to get those rotations out of there and try to get them as straight as possible. So this one right here is about as best I'm going to be able to get that one. This one I'm going to have to break apart anyway. It's much easier to break it apart if it's standing upright. And in the last video, or last unit, I took and broke that apart into 2 or 3 different units. We'll see if we can reduce that down in this video. Move it off to the side so I can kind of see it better. So maybe right about there. And then I'll make a cube in the area. So let's go to Object, Snap, Cursor to Selected. Object, Snap, Cursor to Selected. Okay, good. Oh, Object, Transform, Origin to Geometry. Then Object, Snap, Cursor to Selected. There we go. And I'll make a box. Doesn't matter what you choose to cut apart first. I'm going to actually do the torso first. So if I cut this along the back side, it would prevail no detail, but I would need to get that sphere in the center of that. So what I'm going to do here is probably choose to cut it here this time. I'm going to have to rely on support material because of this, but it's going to be a bare minimum support material. Mesh, Snap, Cursor to Selected, Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor, again, Mesh, Snap, Cursor to Selected, Tab, Transform. Okay, first object is this. It's positioned, so I want to bring this one up to this position. Good. So the torso, ready to be cut. Shift D to duplicate it. I'll put it over here. Shift D to make a copy of it. Delete the top, delete the bottom, vice versa. Cube 03. Cube 05. Good. Both those objects are done. Set this one up over here. Rotate this one. -180. And put it over here. Okay, there we go. And since the resolution is going to be this way anyway, what'll happen is it'll be a nice it'll be easy to glue these together. Nobody will know the difference because of the resolution of the 3D print. I would reuse these, but I find half the time it's useless, so I'm going to go and do this form now. This one's the easiest to cut. This one's kind of the hardest. Okay, this time I want to make it so maybe I can print this all in one piece, or two pieces at least. Rather than three. So I'll separate here on the elbow. Well, it's still going to make it so it's two. Yep, there is no way to print that three, or two. Okay, go back to normal. Shift D. Don't move it. And then Control E to extrude it. And then I can do this. Grab all the components, L, mesh, vertices, separate by loose parts. So actually these are now two separate units right here. Okay, let's go cut that arm. Isn't this fun? Let's use global now. Delete the bottom, delete the top. Cube 7. Cube 5. Hand is good. We're going to move it over to the good pile. Rotate it so it is good. And just to make sure, it will tweak it just a little bit, but not much. I'm just going to flatten out these vertices. Object transform origin to geometry. Let's start the whole process over again. Snap, cursor to selected. Now I could always cut this the other way, so I'll show you the difference here. This is really easy to do it this way, by the way. Besides, you have to compensate for this now. Mesh, snap, cursor to selected, tab, object, transform, origin. There we go. So this one's laid out. And it's an X. We move this to the same X. Whoa. That's the same X. Okay. C, Control V. Make 2 copies. So you can imagine if you screw up that you have to go back quite a bit. You'll have to go even further back if you don't lay these out to be steps. Sometimes you can repair something just by going into one of the steps rather than going all the way back to the action figure itself. Oh yeah, that's good. So, Control Z, before I rotated that, there we go. And then I have to Object, Apply Rotation and Scale. That way I can rotate this perfectly -90. Okay, those are in the done pile. So you can see I got a lot of geometry from that, from cutting it sideways like that. Okay, last but not least, that little thing, this thing. I think I'll do that in the next video.